All right. I am Ron Cameron, and this is the Conduit. All right. So, how's everyone doing this evening? Hope you are doing well, as I know that I am doing well. You can see the Rev with me here tonight.
Hello to all the people. This is our first episode, our first show for 2022. Not the first Conduit show, but our first show together for 2022. I'm excited. We got at least 51 more, 50 more to go. Had to do the math in my head real quick.
It's gonna happen on some Wednesdays that's gonna trip us up. So it's gonna happen inevitably, but we're definitely here to continue that conversation that we were having before. Rob Dent says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you. Are you guys getting settled in down there in Texas?" So he's down there, got on the plane today, and let us know, are they wearing their mask in Texas, or is it the Wild Wild West down there?
Let's pray so.
I bet it's definitely the Wild Wild West. I did want to make one quick announcement before we get going tonight. It is now time for the 2022 Kitsap County Point in Time Count. And so the county, along with Northwest Hospitality, shout out to Anton. They're looking for volunteers that can help out with the point in time count. The street outreach will be Thursday, January 27th from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then at the food banks, Monday through Friday, starting January 24th through January 28th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., working in shifts. And then also at the meal sites, Monday through Friday, January 24th through 28th, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Those times are flexible to accommodate operating schedules at different locations. So if you are interested in helping capture how many people are experiencing homelessness, so we can get a more accurate count, please call 888-222-5246 and hit option number 6, or send an email at info@nwhospitality.org. All right? Again, that's 888-222-5240, option number 6. And again, that email is www.northwestnwhospitality.org. All right? It's looping bad. Okay, thank you for that.
Oh, hey, bruh, can you see me?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna cut the phone off.
Oh, we still on the phone?
Yeah, we still on the phone, man.
That's why it's looping. So Rev and I will have conversations, our pre-conversation conversation.
I need to be able to hear you on the computer, so you got to cut the volume back up. I can't hear you.
All right, so let's try that now.
Hold on.
All right, how am I coming in now?
Plug into my mic.
Whatever, we good?
That was.
Give us a moment there to get ourselves situated here.
Okay. Say something.
Let me know in the chat too. Clear now. All right. Thank you there, Bailey. Appreciate that.
I can hear you. And I can hear you.
I'm blaming the Rev for that one.
Oh, you gonna blame it on me, bro?
So again, let me just announce that again really quick, since the echo was really bad. Again, it is the 2022 Kitsap County Point in Time Count. We need to get an accurate count of the homelessness in this county. We know that the numbers, even when we do the point in time count, it's even more that's counted, but we need to get an accurate count as much as possible so that we can get resources to this population and help to address the issue of homelessness. We are not going to solve it by any stretch of the imagination, but we do need to hit this thing hard. And the more that we know, the more that we can rally folks to pool their resources and find answers to this issue. Rev, you have anything you want to say on this?
Yeah, send me that flyer, bro. I'm gonna
Oh, you muted
try and
yourself.
make it out for that. Say that again.
You're muted there.
No.
You hung up the phone and now I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm not
We'll wait
muted,
on
bro.
Rev to get his thing together and then we'll jump back in here.
I'm not muted.
They can hear me, but they can't hear you, Rev. Give Rev a
Let me
second here.
see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, okay. I
What
just
happened
had to
on your
switch
end?
my mic.
You had to switch it? Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, we
yeah.
just wanted to
So
hear.
what I was saying was send me that flyer. I'm gonna try and make it out for the 27th and volunteer my time and
That's what I'm talking
assist in
about.
that. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, Rev.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's no problem.
it's the new
Yeah.
year. We've got a lot that we want to get into. We do want to continue our series on, setting up a social contract in regards to us working with each other. That's very important, and I think many of us, agree with that. I was wondering why I was having a
Amen.
double picture there. You told me to zoom in on the TV. I'm like, why is my camera going to a double picture and not just on me? So that's why. Rev's got me playing with all the technology behind the scenes. The whole show is all weird. So
Hey,
we're gonna keep.
I'm a gadget freak. I love gadgets, man. So yeah, I gotta see what they can do.
Yeah, Rev's got me zooming in on TVs, and he's like, zoom in on the TV, do this, do that. Like, all right, I'll show you. So it'll be good
Yeah, hey, I
to
can't be.
be on
I'm
location
not
with
there in
you.
person to do it myself. So like, yeah, I gotta see what it does, man. I gotta see what it does.
Oh no, we gonna get there. We got all kinds of things planned for this year. So, you want to make your announcement for
Amen.
the after school program? We'll get into tonight's episode.
Yeah. So our last board meeting, we were discussing our after school program. My program director is actively building that out. I've uh I've been kind of instructed to stay in my lanes. As far as things go here, because like that's kind of the program director's job, but they're building that out. We're gonna have that up and going. Yesterday, we were supposed to do our very first new version of a town hall. I mean, of a Bible study, which is in the town hall format, and so I think people may have forgotten the date because it's not the normal Bible study day. It's on a Tuesday, and what's happening with that is, it's a town hall format, so people can feel a whole lot more comfortable with just kind of, talking and asking questions and, kind of having discussions and letting the Spirit lead us in our studies. Also, I was, I want to remind, and I'm going to keep on pushing this and pushing this. Really big effort for our college scholarship. We decided to put together a college scholarship that we're going to be collecting funds from now until September, and we're going to give out at least one, but we want to be able to give out a couple of these scholarships, multiple scholarships. So we're asking people to donate to that particular fund for the scholarship, because that's for the community. That's for our kids. I feel like they work very hard, in school, and we want to encourage and support them in their efforts to, kind of go further in life. And so we did the scholarship in the name of John L. Chapman. He was the first father here at New Horizon, and so it's the John L. Pop Chapman scholarship. That's another thing that my program director is working on. The application for that, I should have that available by the end of this month, so people can start go and downloading the application, or coming and getting a copy of however it is you need it, and and then be able to start putting in their applications and stuff. Very, very important, the scholarship. And so I'm gonna send you the link, brother Mawan, and ask that you post that in the chat for me, just so that uh, people can get to it. Hold on one second. Uh, Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Are you still there? I'm not hearing you, bro. Okay. Well, while he's muted, this scholarship, like I said, this is for only available for our students here in the area locally. It's not something that's like a statewide scholarship. We're trying to support our local students in their efforts and doing. And so, like I said, I'm going to be pushing this and talking about this all year long. So, like I
Will they have
said,
to write an essay, Rev?
So, um, yeah, there will be likely a short essay attached to it, of course, just like most scholarships. Um, it's going to be a 3.0 GPA requirement, I think, either 3.0 or 2.5, something like that. I think a 3.0, and some other requirements. I'll get the full list of requirements, and then I can list that on our next week, our full list of requirements for that. I just sent you a link. You guys can go to that link, and there's a drop down bar. When you get to the link, there's a drop down box. You can just select the uh, John L. Chapman College Scholarship, and donate to that. Helping our local students here. This is like very close to my heart. Something I really believe in. I love children, and I think they should be encouraged and supported. In all the things that the positive things they try and do in life, and yeah, they're the future. They're what's coming next, and so we need to pour into them positive things right now. So
All right,
yeah.
I like it. I appreciate that. Well, I was just on Facebook, and there's one more thing that we need to do there before we really get going tonight. All right.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm with you.
I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in on you there. All right, Rev, this is for you. Happy
Okay.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Pastor. I'm sorry I did not see it on your day. I literally just saw that on Facebook. Like, how did I miss his birthday?
It's fine. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's fine. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
You get the song.
Hey, you got a pretty decent voice there. I'm gonna tell you right now. I would not have been as brave to attempt that.
Hey, don't tell me that. Show you right. You know it's already hard to get my head in the door as it is. You know what I'm saying? And now you know.
Be humble, brother. Be humble.
Hey, I can't help myself. You know the swag just starts coming out. You know you can't give me compliments like that, Rev.
I can't with you, man. I just can't.
Happy birthday, Rev. It's important. It's important. So let's jump into tonight. You know, the theme, you know, if folks watch my New Year's Eve address, every New Year's Eve, I will reflect on the year that we were in and then project out into the year that we're going into. We know what we're facing. Omicron is just off the chain right now, which is horrible. We know that many of the supports that were in place are now gone, and this is going to make things tremendously difficult for people, and even more difficult for people that were already struggling. You know what I'm saying? So the moratorium of eviction has expired. You know, there's no more stimulus checks. There's no more PPP loans for businesses. So a lot of those supports and those social supports that were there are now gone. And here we are dealing with these issues. And just kind of to frame what's happening here just in our county alone. You know, what the county likes to see typically is for this number here to be under 100, right? 100 cases per 100,000. It is at 1,170 currently. And you can see here by the graph that this thing has just shot up. And unfortunately, when we look at the mainstream media and social media and wherever we get the news, what is missed in this is, okay, yeah, this isn't as deadly as the Delta. So, okay, you're not dying from it. Omicron is not in your lungs. It's more of an upper respiratory. So, you know, it's even better in that regard. The problem is that most of us have jobs, not careers. So we don't have sick leave. Our kids need to be in school. So if we get sick and we can't go to work, we're not earning money, right? If we're not earning money, we're not able to pay our rent. There's no moratorium on eviction anymore. We're falling further and further behind, and we've already been devastated. We're going into year 3. So as this thing is going on and people are getting sick and it's hitting everyone, this is going to continue to harm people as we fall further and further behind. And in the same respect, we're still dealing with automation, outsourcing of work, downsizing, companies learning, hey, you know what? We can live in a Zoom space. We don't have to have brick and mortar. So we don't need to have the footprint of a large brick and mortar. We can now do this stuff remotely, and we can save money this way. So what are people supposed to do? What's the new innovation? Where's the job training programs? What are we going to do to ensure that our citizens are self-sufficient and can take care of themselves and their families and not just survive, but thrive and be resilient, right? I think we miscategorize what resiliency is. People say, "Oh, you've gone through this and you've gone through that. You're so resilient." And I reject that because to me, a lot of times that's just survival, right? You survived something and you're on the other you're on the other survive you're on the other side. That's not resiliency. That's survival. You may be sustaining, you may be treading water. I lived through this, I made it, and I'm still here, but are you growing? That's resiliency, right? And so I think it gets miscategorized, and it is, a yeoman effort for sure to been able to survive all the things that we've survived, but we cannot continue to live under these conditions. And as we age, our bodies fall apart, our minds aren't as fast as they were before. So we don't have all the same tools that we did in our youth. So we cannot fall further and further behind. So to me, this is going to be worse than the 2008 housing crisis. And this is going to be with a lot of folks a lot longer than the housing crisis, And for the housing crisis, a lot of people that were affected by that were homeowners, right? And there were some secondary collateral damage based on the market and what it did. But here with COVID, this is going to be a whole different thing that's going to hurt a lot of people. We see the homeless in the country locally exploding. We see that many of the new dwellings are storage facilities, right? Because people are trying to keep their possessions because they need to downsize. They cannot maintain where they're at. I mean, storage shelters are popping up all over Kitsap County. And while there is a lot of building and new construction going on, it's not fast enough, and it doesn't address the scores, the hundreds of folks that are experiencing homelessness. And even when those buildings are built, when they pat themselves on the back and they say, "Hey, we had these builders come in and they said, hey, 20% of these units are affordable." Well, if you got 5 units, that means that 1 unit is affordable. If you have 100 units, 20 are affordable. And even that is laughable because the affordable isn't really affordable. Couple that with the fact that the military has raised their BAH, which is their housing allowance, that's going to drive up rent. So we are in a dire situation. And we have to find a way to pull together, to support each other, to find new ways to be sustainable, to have resiliency, to count on each other. We can't wait on the government to do it. The churches and nonprofits, they're taxed. So it's up to us. And ultimately, all we really need is us. And so the theme is possibility over probability. You know how I feel, Rev, about, the whole hope and prayer and faith, right? I think it's good, but they say, faith without action is dead, right? Prayer without action is dead. So yeah, it's possible this can happen, but is it probable? It's possible that I can not eat, I can not exercise, and I can just eat the worst things, and I'm not going to get diabetes. It's possible, but it's probably pretty probable that I am. And so we've got to get away from living in the possibility and living in the probability.
Yeah.
Following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that even goes for the church, right? So if you're going to read the word and try to live by the word, right? Then you need to do your best to live by the word and to understand the word, right? Because you want it to be probable that you make it into heaven when judgment comes, and not to be possible. It's possible that I could be living this crazy life of sin all day long and say, well, the Lord knows my heart, but I'm doing the wrong thing and I still get into heaven. I'd rather have a probability and not a possibility. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think in that scenario, it's probably it's not probable or possible.
Well, there you go. But we
Yeah,
do that
your
now, right?
chances go down real low. You can go and talk to the devil, and he'll tell you like, yeah, I'm holy, and like I'm saved, but we all know the devil ain't getting in. So come on, let's be real about it now. That's all I'm
But we're
saying.
hearing that more often. Like, that has been a lot of folks that are like me that don't have a church home right now, not actively going to church. And they say, well, I wouldn't say I'm religious. I say that I'm spiritual. And for whatever reason, they're not in the church anymore. Right. And well, God knows my heart. And I'm not saying that it doesn't mean that they could be walking in their faith stronger than folks that do show up every time the church doors are open. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I'm hearing more and more people say that. We see, from the stats that more and more people are becoming atheists, or they're practicing Wiccan, all kinds of things, right? Like all kinds of things are happening right now. But in that, it's the goalpost has been moved so much. It's like, well, you know what? God knows my heart. I'm doing the best I can. And the question is, are you really doing the best that you can? Honestly.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's a big one. Let's be spiritually, and you know, uh, intellectually honest. Are you really doing the best you can? I asked I put my congregation, kind of, I don't want to say to the test, but I put it to them like, to be spiritually honest. Like, you can lie to me, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like you could, most likely get away with that. But what I'm saying, let's be spiritually honest, intellectually honest. You can't lie to God. You can't get away with that. He knows. He knows. And so it don't matter like what you say to me, what I'm saying. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I believe this, I believe that. Like it that really don't matter what you tell your neighbor, what you tell your pastor, or the group on your pew. Like, no, it don't matter. God knows. And while you sitting there saying things like, God knows my heart, you right. He does know your heart, and he know your intentions, and he know your motives, and all of that. And so it ain't no getting over and being nickel slick with God. So yeah, I
And
just
I'm
say,
nickel slick with God all the time. I
hey, be
compromise with God.
careful.
It's like, well, God, yeah, I do really well over here, God, and I don't do so good over here. So, Lord, my heart. I'm doing the best I can, Lord. It's just, I just like this particular thing that I do, or whatever it is that I'm doing that I know I probably shouldn't be doing, or shouldn't be doing it to the level that I do it at. But I mean, Lord, look, everything else is so good. You gonna hit me on that?
Yeah. He gonna hit you on that. You right. He gonna hit you on that. Listen, God does not come. Oh, let me give a real quick shout out, real quick, to and thank you, brother Rob and Bailey. I appreciate the birthday wishes. Thank you. Let me give a real quick shout out to Sister Okuye. She should suggested this book right here. Strong Man's His Name, right here. And
Mm-hmm.
this is actually part two. I got part one at home, and I've been reading that, and so I haven't got to part two yet. But man, excellent suggestion to get part one, and I can hardly wait for part two now. But yeah, very good book. So thank you, sister, for that right there. And I give a shout out, of course, always to one of our biggest supporters here at New Horizon, Sister Christina Wark. Thank you again. Appreciate you, sis. Hats off to
Nice.
both of you ladies. So, amen. And Sister Deborah, and Sister Flood. Hats off to all you ladies. Y'all doing good work in the community. Amen. All right. So yeah, we cannot, you know what I'm saying, kind of, you know what I'm saying, play the the game with God, you know what I'm saying, because he really does know, you know what I'm saying. And so if anything, we should be being real honest with him and real upfront, and then maybe consider asking God and saying, hey, I know that this particular thing is something that you're not happy with and you're not pleased with this, so will you please remove this, from me? And you know what? God is faithful. He will do it. If we just simply ask, what I'm saying, in faith, we don't, and I tell people this all the time, listen, I'm not here to change anybody, you know what I'm saying, because I can't change anybody. I couldn't even change myself, you know, but God is able, and so I'm here, we're here at New Horizon. We're here to, help assist you in kind of understanding that and getting to that point where, just little by little, you allow God, to kind of shape and mold you into who uh, he wants you to be. And then two, just to realize that sometimes, things that things aren't always as bad as we think they is. Some things people kind of have misconceptions and like, oh, this ain't, you can't do this and that or whatever. And that's not always the case. For example, what happened in the Bible, Paul ran into a situation with the Corinthians where they was having a dispute about meat, like eating meat. Like, can we eat it? Can't we eat it? And it was like, oh well, you can eat this kind of meat, as long as it ain't from one of them pagan temples and so forth or whatever. And Paul was
That
like,
sounds
look,
like us with
it's
bacon.
exactly, what I'm saying. And I was finna go to that. I was finna go to that next. And so it is like us with bacon. And Paul would say, even now today, he like, look, it's just meat. What I'm saying? Pray over it and then, eat and be done with it. What I'm saying? Like, we're not in those situations no more where it's like, oh, you can't eat this type of meat or you can't eat that type of meat. Back in the day, what I'm saying, in the Old Testament, like, yeah, you couldn't mess around with that pork, that swine. Like, nah, that wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? But, on several different occasions, what I'm saying, throughout the Bible, what I'm saying, the Bible tells us, like, look, it's all good. You can eat the swine now. Jesus, like, said, look, it's all good. Peter had a vision from God that said, look, it's all good. Paul, again, like I was telling you, he addressed the situation and said, yeah, it's all good. So all we got to do is really just stop being so hard on ourselves, you know, and just, be spend a little bit of time, what I'm saying, learning uh, how to have a proper relationship with God. That's the big thing. Learning how to have a proper relationship with God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Well, here's the thing. I almost feel like we could rename this the dark side and the light side. I think you're the light side, Rev, and I'm the dark side because I'm trying to tell folks that we out of time and it's time we got to get going. And you're like, oh, give yourself grace and things aren't as bad as you think it's gonna be.
Oh, wait. Don't get what I'm saying twisted. And I know people, they love to hear, that easy stuff, but it's some difficult parts in there too, and we are definitely, I tell people this all the time, we are seeing biblical prophecies fulfilled every single day before our very eyes. We are living in the last days. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Jesus is coming back, because he said so, and he ain't never lied about nothing. So I ain't got no reason to think that he lied about coming back. So he gonna come back, right? And here's the thing, right? Whether he comes back, what I'm saying, in our lifetime or our grandkids' lifetime or our great grandkids' lifetime, he coming back. You know, but regardless of that, one way or the other, we all gonna stand before the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So either he gonna come back before we die and we gonna stand before him, or either we gonna die and then we gonna go stand before him. But we all gonna stand before the Lord, and we're gonna have to give an account and answer, for every thought, every deed, what I'm saying, and every intention, that we've ever had, and we're gonna have to answer for those things. And so,
Well, Rev, that
there's
might all be
only
true, but what are we going to do now?
Yeah, right. Okay, so and I know you, and it took I got a hard head. It took me a while to kind of get there with you. I understand you want the
Here's
tangibles.
and here's why I'm asking. This is and I want to keep it, what kind of what we're talking about, which is we know that we're in a bad situation now, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I assert that it's going to get worse before it gets better. We had Mark on earlier. Shout out to Mark from Roseco, and he talks about food for all and water for all and the issues that we're having. What happens if we have the earthquake that is due here, and what that's going to do, and how we're not prepared from an emergency management standpoint. And the fact that right now we were caught unprepared for this pandemic, and we're watching the WHO, we're watching the CDC, we're watching our local governments try to figure out what to do. They keep leading from behind and doing things that seem counter to what is common sense, right? And then you have division where you have two sides of the equation, sometimes doing the extremes, which isn't helpful in either regard. So, at the end of it, while you're waiting on judgment, when you die, there's going to be judgment. That's great. But I don't want to live in a living hell until that time comes. And I don't want to just survive and slowly starve to death and not have what I need to watch my children suffer and be powerless to do anything to help them or provide for them. So what do we do now? Because that's it. It's the possibility through the probability. I prayed and the Lord will provide. The Lord's going to take care of it. I just give it to the God and God's going to do it. Well, yeah, you can give it to God, but God requires you to do something. So you've got to take the action, right? And so whether you are devout and in the church, devout and out the church, or, you wake up on a Sunday or a Saturday now and, you turn it on your phone and listen in a little bit, or you don't believe at all, you got to be ready. So what does that ready look like? And the thing is doesn't matter where you're at on the spectrum, we can all work together. Shout out to Daryl. He's saying, what are the actionable items? That's what I'm talking about. Daryl preaching. What are the actionable items? That's what we need. Right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How do we get
And I
past ourselves
Yeah,
to
and
work
I
together?
totally agree with you and brother Daryl. We gotta have the tangibles.
Food,
My
water, shelter, education.
my of course my wheelhouse is the spiritual, but never get it twisted. I'm rooted in reality, and I understand the tangibles. One of the things I think, and you kind of mentioned it, which I think most, if not all of our community needs to kind of tune in, and I guess maybe on a toned down level, kind of understand what the your other program, the Kids App Resiliency, is all about, what that means. So I found out, and I forgot what his name for it is, but Olympic disaster something is, it's possible, that mountain might explode. The bridge might collapse. We might get cut off. What I'm saying, all kinds of crazy things. Like you said, this plague that we're living in right now. That's constantly getting worse. But I'm going to digress from that for right now, because I go on a whole nother tangent about that. But we have to make some preparations. What I'm saying? People need to make some early preparations for
So what are those? What are the
worst case
preparations?
scenarios. So yeah, I'm going to
How do
get into
we
that. I'm
how
going
do
to get
we
into
build
that.
storehouses? Well, why don't we list them? We need
Yeah,
water,
yeah,
we
yeah,
need food, we need shelter, we need security. We got to be able to protect
yeah.
ourselves. It's great. I'm glad that we out here. We capture, violence against us with our cameras. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't protection.
No,
Other
no,
people don't protect themselves with their cell phone. We got to protect
no.
our own.
Yeah.
Security's got to
So
be one of those.
yeah, as far as security goes, I would definitely love to see something on the level of Deacons for Defense. That from this is an older program, of course. They got started back in the day. Something more modern, and that the younger generation can kind of vibe with. But I would love to see something like that on a local level get started. And uh, I tell people all the time, I'm a big firm believer in my Second Amendment rights. Nevertheless, you need to have a level head and understand when the appropriate time for that type of use is necessary. And so you know uh, some type of somebody, and I can't be the one. I got too much on my plate. But we need somebody to kind of head and spear that up. And there's people out there that's listening, and this might be, what I'm saying, your call that you can do for the community is to start
Take
up,
them to the
what I'm
gun
saying, that
range.
type of organization. Uh-huh.
Take them to the gun range.
Oh yeah, I go at least 2 or 3 times a year. Just to kind of stay in par. And I don't even, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's enough. I know I should be at least 2 or 3 times a month. But
Well, ammo
life is
ammo
what
ain't
it
cheap,
is.
Rev. Unless you're gonna,
Exactly, I know. And as I said,
I don't
life
know
is
how I
what it
feel about
is.
the there's some ranges where you can reload the shells.
Oh,
You can
okay.
repack the ammo. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, repacked ammo is fine. It's fine if as long as you know what you're doing, and you don't, hot pack them. You know what I'm saying? So they're exploding in your gun. Yeah, you're fine. If you as long as you know what
What's
you're
your
doing.
favorite? What do you like to shoot?
Anything with a trigger.
Hey, look at that
Anything with a
smile.
trigger.
Well, there's some
Man, I
things
love
that
to shoot a
it's not
tank.
practical.
Huh?
Like I love the 357, the long barrel, because when you shoot it, the flames just come out of the barrel. It's so nice, but I mean, there's no accuracy with that. But it's fun to shoot it though.
Oh, there is. See, you just don't know what you're doing. There's accuracy with that. I have a 357 snub nose 357 with a 2 inch barrel on it. But even with like a 4 or 5 inch barrel, yeah, you can get pretty accurate with those. It's just and that's where training comes in. At one learning how to handle the firearm safely is step one. That's always a priority. Safety, safety, safety. Then training, and you can do this with a dry firearm. Unloaded. Just a dry firearm. Just training your eyes to properly look down the sights. to draw the firearm and just look down the sights. That is actually more difficult than most people realize. And so yeah, you have to practice with that. But so I think forming, and maybe just on a loose level for right now until we can get somebody to kind of, spearhead that. Just kind of, pooling, your friends and so forth, and those that are that do have access to firearms legally, legal access to firearms. Just to say, like, hey, in the event that stuff hits the fan, like, look, we're gonna, what I'm saying, rally together, have a meetup destination, and say, hey, we're gonna bring our families, and we're gonna, have a place to say, like, look, this is where we're gonna shelter at, what I'm saying, until the government, or the state or the city or whoever can move in and kind of restore order. We're gonna circle our wagons at X location. Um, and preparing for that, beyond just the firearms like you're listing now, the water. Um, Hold on one second. My computer's doing something. Okay. Uh, you know, um, Having at that location that y'all decide y'all gonna circle the wagons, having the stuff that you're listing now, the water, the food, what I'm saying. And I think 3 days is antiquated nowadays. And I would say a week, because we have to, realize one, where we, live at, what I'm saying. Just our high usage of water nowadays is way more than what it used to be, kind of when those standards were set, so yeah, and then you have to make account for people with medical needs that may have a larger consumption of water. Like myself, I have to, for medical purposes, consume fluid, 3 times what most people do, and so making accounting for those type of things, accounting for people's medical needs in general, is important. uh Unfortunately, the kind of country we live in, I think that is one of our biggest dangers. If there was some type of disaster, or a national disaster, or some type of attack, or whatever else that kind of stranded people on an island, so to speak, not necessarily a literal island, but you know what I'm saying,
Well, let
is
me show you, Rev.
access to.
So let me show you what I got here. So I
Hold on,
have
let me before
I just want to show
before you do
everyone
that.
what I've got. So this is a
Yeah.
5 gallon that you can get at Walmart or pretty much anywhere, right? And I've got enough of these for 3 days for myself. I made sure that Layla and Mama have enough at their house, and Grandma and everyone that's there has enough at their house. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. Make sure that you've got water. Now you can
let me
use
let,
bottled water from
let me ask you
Costco, but
this.
yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this, and this is where I was going with it. The danger in this country is, if something were to happen, a natural disaster or attack or anything else that kind of put people on those those at their own, put them, at their own devices, right? What and how do we overcome, our medical needs? Because most places, you're not gonna, they're not gonna give you enough medicine, you know, like that's an
Well,
issue.
so that's a good question. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat, and I'm gonna give you an answer. How to
Yeah.
overcome medical needs. And if anyone has wants to chime in there, please do. So I would. So here are my things. One of the things that I do is with over-the-counter medicine, I stock up on that. So when it's on sale,
Mhm.
I get my cold medicine. I make sure I have my allergy medicine, things like that. First aid kits are really important. Making sure that I have that. If I have a medication that I don't end up using for whatever reason, I actually keep it, you know. And that's just me, they'll tell you, oh, go ahead and dispose of your medicine. But my thought is, I don't know when I might need that medicine in the future. One of the things that I experienced with some of the I've got a lot of health issues going on, so I'm on a lot of medication. But my big fear is running out of my medicine, right? And sometimes I'll go to fill a prescription and they don't have the prescription, or they don't, it's going to be an extra day and I'm going to have a gap in being able to take my medicine. So
Yeah.
I will try to, titrate myself in a way where I don't take it all the time, so I can build up a reserve, right? So, and I do that now, not even thinking about an emergency situation, but just having an issue between the doctor and the pharmacy or whatever, and it's going to take 3 days because they can't get the medicine, then I know that I'm going to be okay and I'm not going to go without. I think it's also a good idea. And definitely, I'm not a medical person, so consult with your doctor. But there are days where I won't take my medicine just because I don't want my body to get so used to it that it's like my body won't function unless it has it. So there are days where I will take off from taking certain meds, and then that helps me to build that up. So sometimes I just will forego. If I'm taking it 3 times a day, I'll forego taking it once. If it's another medicine that I can get away with and I can take the whole day off, I'll do that. Like I take muscle relaxers. It's the only way I can go to sleep, right? So I take 3 at night. I mean, it'll knock out a horse. The problem is that honestly, it really only keeps me asleep for about 2 hours anyway. But it does let me get into REM sleep for 2 hours. There are nights when I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about what my sleep quality is, because that's going to give me a full day of medicine that if something really goes bad, at least I have one to take and I don't always have to survive off of the 3.
So let me
Go
ask
ahead.
you this, and I and that's, that's an option, that's a scenario. However, right, uh, what about people who can't do that? So say, my boys, they have epilepsy, they have
Well,
to
I'm getting
have that
there.
medicine.
You didn't let me finish my thing.
Okay, well, go ahead, bro. My bad. Let me sit back and learn from the master. My
you didn't
apologies.
you didn't let me finish my thing, Rev. He's like, all right, so that is that one, right? That's with medicine. That for me, this is something that I do. Again, not a medical professional. I don't want to type that in the chat, but you guys are listening, so you're hearing it. But that allows me to create a storehouse of medicine. If I have an infection, like I had a broken tooth, and man, that thing, I couldn't even eat cake, Rev. That's how bad it hurt. And so I got it fixed July 4th, because I wanted to enjoy, 4th of July food, right? But they had given me a full course of penicillin to kill the infection. Well, I ended up waiting, and so I ended up not taking it. So I have a full course of penicillin that I have just in case. So if something happens and I need that because I can't have access to it, then I have it. So it is something that I do that I'm cognizant of. That's important. The other thing that I would say is, when we think about our ancestry and what it was for all of us pre-pharmaceutical, we lived off the land, right? There's so much medicinal properties in the land. And so eating right, exercising will fix a lot of those ailments, right? If you're a proponent of Dr. Sebi, his diet has reversed a lot of things like diabetes and other things from a lot of individuals, and they swear by it. So, Dr. Sebi is one that I would have folks look into. But there's a lot of naturopathic options that people can do and exercise, because those things are going to be gone. And yes, we're in a different time now because we're in the future, which is current. But our ancestors, our great great grandfather, our great great grandmother, even great, right? They didn't have options to those things. So how did they survive? Right? Or did they just die? Now, there are things like, your sons, what you're going through with Rob, who has, Rob doesn't hold this a secret, so I'm not snitching on Rob, but he's a diabetic. And one, the medicine is really expensive. And two, it's got to be refrigerated. And three, if it's gone, he's got a problem. You know what I'm saying? So he needs that medicine. But again, the only way to counteract that, if it's gone and you don't have that storehouse, is through a very strict diet and exercise to get ourselves in the most healthy, position that we can get ourselves in, and whatever reserves we can get, then try to get them. See if you can call the doctor. Again, I'm not advocating for this. This isn't advice. Hey, I lost my meds, so that I can get an extra course, an extra month, right? So if I got at least 30 days, if there's an earthquake or something happens, I know I've got meds for at least 30 days, where hopefully infrastructure can be reset up and reestablished so I can get access to medicines. And we watch so many disaster movies where what happens? They all run on the pharmacy and they take all the drugs. So if you think you're going to be one of those people to get in there and get that medicine, one, that's dangerous, and two, it's not likely to be you. And you may not even be ready at that point to take a life or really hurt someone over trying to get this medicine because it just happened, right? So those are the if we're gonna keep it real, then we're in survival mode. You're gonna do what you have to do. It's gonna get to a point where you're gonna have to protect yourself, right? So then why would it be such a far stretch for you to say, well, you know what, I lost a month of my prescription, so I need an extra month, right? I'd rather do that than have to go and fight someone over the medicine that their kid or they may need, right? We both need this medicine to stay alive. So you know what? If I can go and tell this pharmaceutical company that's killing us by overcharging us that, hey, I lost my meds for a month and you give me, diabetic medication and I can keep that storehouse, then hey, that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead and jump in there, Ram.
Yeah, man, that's a perilous situation. Thank you, Sister Rourke, for providing that article. I'm going to definitely take a look at that. Those are some possible options, and that's something to think about now. And Lord forbid that we ever, have need any of those scenarios you suggested there. But the reality is, we have to, we have to live life, what I'm saying. And I try and tell people this, like, walk out of your door every day expecting to meet the world that you live in. And so you have to live life, expecting to deal with the world that you live in. And that means that, there's a strong possibility that one day, Russia may go ahead and try and pull it, or China may go ahead and try and pull it, or North Korea may try and pull it. Our country isn't impregnable, or just like can't nobody touch us. Like, damage can be done. We've seen that happen before in the past, like Pearl Harbor and stuff. So we have to live our lives in preparation, not in fear, but in preparation, and say, like, okay. And sometimes that preparation is just having a plan, and saying, like, and thinking and saying, like, hey, if X, Y, and Z happens, this is what I'm gonna do. Just like we, which I hope people do on a regular basis. Sit down and have those conversations with your children, like, hey, if the house ever catches on fire, this is what I want you to do. And we have to, kind of be aware that life can happen at any moment. So medicine is a big one. It's a really big one because like you just said, with Rob and with my boys, like they have to have that every day, or very dangerous things can begin to happen. And so thank you for just kind of discussing that. Let me ask you this. So
if you're going to change subject, let me just jump in there on one
no,
other
no,
thing,
no, no. We're
Rev.
staying on the same subject. We're staying on the same
medicine?
subject.
Okay.
No, no. I wanted to move to food.
Well, let me say one more thing about the medicine. Another thing that is true. We have a lot of folks that live in poverty, right? And they have to make choices. They can't afford their meds. And so what they end up doing is they take half of their meds, or they skip days when they take their meds, right? We have millions of people that live in the country like this now, right? And the older we get, the less access to resources we have, and we got to make those decisions, because do you pay the rent and keep your lights on, or do you take your medicine, right? And so that's how people are already surviving. And so in some ways, many of us in the short term, I think, will be a little bit more resilient in that regard, because we've been living in this capacity already. However, if this becomes drawn out, and for those of us that hands are nice and soft because of palm olive, it's going to be a concern. So I would definitely implore people to make sure that they're prepping in that way. Okay, you jumped off there for a second. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Like, there are already people that are living that way. And so we don't, our perspective is different. And so if we had someone on here talking about that, then they would say, hey, you know what? I can't afford my medicine. Or when I do, this is how I have to take it. So it stretches, right? And I'm living in this way. And then when you think about it from their viewpoint, we sit here in judgment on them, like, well, why the hell don't you work harder? Why don't you pull yourself up from your bootstraps? And we don't typically say that, but we'll look at someone and make a judgment and say, hey, man, you got to put the effort in. You got to do this and that. And it's like, well, you know what? I haven't had my diabetic medicine. I haven't had this medicine. I haven't had that medicine. And my body's running at 30%, So I'm trying, but I feel like I'm Goku training at 100 times gravity. You know what I'm saying? You might not even get that reference, but that's all good.
I get the reference. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but
all right,
I get the
you get a horn for that one. I gotta give you a horn. So go ahead. You wanted to move on to
food. One of my good friends is a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, and I'd seen a couple of shows. Not a fan, but I have seen a couple of shows.
It's over 9,000.
Okay,
go ahead, bro.
So moving on, we know that some people are more financially challenged, than others, and that is an issue, and that's a concern, with the medicine. And that's kind of where I was going to go, even with the food, in all of these preparations is, financially, how do people make this work? Because
I got you, Rev.
like food,
that's a good question.
Hold on, food,
I got you.
Yeah, food is expensive, brother. It is very expensive. Yeah.
You know what? I think that's a myth. Mark was saying it earlier today. There are more Americans now in history that are receiving SNAP benefits, right? And the thing is it's our education and our choice. And in a lot of ways, we weren't taught, to save. We weren't taught about compound interest. We weren't taught about stocks. We weren't taught about saving, the value of $1. We also weren't taught about healthy eating, right? We had to eat what we could, what was available, food deserts, right? the way that our parents and our grandparents were domesticated. You know, I was raised on Hamburger Helper and everything bad. You know, each one of us got our own pizza. You know, when I was growing up, we all had our own large pizza. Not, you know, we sharing. I got my own. You know, what you want on your pizza. So the thing is that we need to make different choices, and we can make different choices based on education. So here's one of the things here, right? So this is, let me go ahead and enlarge my camera there. These are ready to eat meals. Camera.
There you go.
Right? And this has 92 servings in it. This isn't the most tasty and most delicious food, right? But it does have Italiano marinara pasta, creamy stroganoff, fettuccine alfredo, creamy chicken flavored rice, mac and cheese, cheesy broccoli, corn chowder, creamy potato soup. And so the recommendation is you don't have to buy a big bucket like this. You can buy them individually. Try it. See if you like it. Because if it's nasty, you're not going to want to eat it. But all of these aren't bad. If you go camping, many folks will take this when they go camping. So it's not this thing like, oh, I ain't going to eat that. I can't do that. This is emergency, right? And you take some of that of your 5-gallon water allotment per day, and you go ahead and you heat one of these up and you eat. And these things are good for 15, 20 years, right? So now that can sit in the back, and if something happens and we don't have power, I'm not worried about it, because I can heat this up and I can make sure that me and my baby can eat. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to eat well. So those are one of the things that we can do. Again, another thing we could do, and Christina's putting some more stuff in the chat there.
Hold on. Before you move forward, how much does something like that cost? Tell the people what that big bucket of 92 servings of food.
That big bucket, a bucket of food.
Because again, like you just said, you know, some of us are you know, strapped for cash, bro. You know, it may be hard to, you know, get that. Where can somebody even find something like that? You know, I know
I'm gonna show you.
I know the sites and things like that, but you know,
I'm gonna hit you like Emerald Lagasse. Bam! All right, I bought this September of this year. It was $73, and what I know is that I watch a lot of us go to Olive Garden or Red Lobster or order food and have it delivered, have Burger King delivered, and it's 60, 70 bucks, right? So for one meal, you got 92 meals.
Wow.
So it's making a choice, right? So we give up. Yeah. We're not going to go to Olive Garden this month, but we got 92 meals, right? And so if you divide that by 3, right, because it's 3 meals a day, that's a month full of meals right there. I got 30 days of food, and I've got 3 days of water, right? And that's if I use the whole 5 gallons. And I actually have more water than that, but you know what I mean? So I'm good in regards to food and water. And it's an investment. And I can still eat this.
Okay.
So this is how you do it. So you have to prioritize it. That's the problem with people that don't have the mindset of saving, right? It's why we don't save. You know, we don't understand compound interest. We don't understand stocks and 401ks, right? And saving it today so it can grow, and tomorrow it's doubled several times over. Right? It's one of the lessons that I teach to Layla through playing video games. You know, we like there's an arcade around the corner from G2 that's like Chuck E. Cheese, and it gives you the tickets, right? So you play the game, you get the tickets, and then after you're done, you go up to the counter and you can buy candy or toys or whatever, right? Well, we get up there and she's amassed a bunch of tickets, and I play too. I love video games. We got 500 tickets. Ooh, daddy, I want this candy, and I want this soda, and I want this candy, and I want this candy. And then she looks up and she's like, ooh, I want that, but that's 10,000 tickets. Well, this is a teachable moment, right? So let me teach you the value of saving. You can get this candy right now, which we can get candy anytime doing whatever, or you can save these tickets and we can save up to this. And so for a while, she used to pout and be upset. And so I'll say, okay, you can buy 2 pieces of candy. You can spend 25 tickets, right? And then after that, she got to the point where it was like, you know what? He looks because it's fun to look. No, I'll save it. No, I'll save it. We have like 3,000 points now. And so
Yeah.
teaching that, and it's up to us to do it. We can't say, well, the school doesn't teach us what we need. That's your kid. So we want the actionable items. Teach your kid the stuff that you say that they're not being taught in the public school. It's a public school.
Come on. Tell it.
That's our job. You know what I'm saying? And then we see stories all the time. They don't want to teach, actual history, right? Now, we're not talking about Black history. We're not talking about CRT. They don't want to teach actual history. So if they don't want to teach you what it is that they want to deny, then why would you trust them to teach what you really need to know, what your kids really need to know? And then what do we say?
Shout out to Daryl Riley and Up From Slavery and his financial literacy program. So, and which I want to touch on right there. What do parents do that may not have the know-how themselves as far as financial literacy, or even they don't even have that on their own knowledge of self as far as our history goes, to be able to teach those things that aren't being taught to the child in the school system.
Well, let me just say this. Let me just say this. Let me just say this. First off, Cynthia, you need to come on to the podcast. She answered your question before you answered it, like she's clairvoyant. She said those that do know should be educating others, the people who don't have the knowledge, because in the long run, if you have someone else is without, we will end up leaving ourselves open for those who will take. And that is 100,000% facts right there, right?
Yes.
So it is up to us. That's part of why this platform exists, right? Because people haven't been exposed to it. And what happens is we get into our 30s, usually we get into our 40s and our 50s, and we say, no one taught us about saving our money. No one taught us about stocks. No one taught us about that, right? Because we're living check to check, right? We're not understanding that we got to put this away. The thing is we didn't look at it right. We were giving 10% to the church in tithes and offering, but we weren't paying ourselves first. My dad, he used to say, pay yourself first and then pay God. You know what I'm saying?
What church he was big on. They giving out 10%. They giving up 10%, bro.
Oh, you want 10%?
Well, I ain't seen nobody give up 10% in a while, man.
Times is hard, Rev.
That's a fairy tale, man.
But hey, well, we know there's some mega churches that are doing quite well. Not even mega churches. There's just the Dominant Society has churches. Who was that? The one white church that's local here. They found like 200,000 in the wall, and they were saying that was on a Saturday offering.
Oh my!
That was one day on a Saturday. That was their offering. $200,000 in cash.
In cash?
There are churches that bring it in.
Man,
but here's the thing, we can do that. Hold on, let me do some quick math for you. All right, there's 300,000 people here in this county, right? We're 3% of the county, or let's say 4%, right? So 1% of 300,000 would be 3,000 people. You following me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you times that by 4, there's 12,000 Black folks here in this county. Okay. Let's assume that half of them are adults.
Okay.
So if you have 6,000 adults, Black adults here in this county, and if they all gave $50, how much would we have?
Say that if we said half of the 4,000 were
half of the 6,000 are adults.
Half of the 6,000 are adults. So 3,000 adults, each given $50.
Yep.
Let me do the math real quick on that. I gotta pull out my calculator. I was never good at math. Let me see here. So we got 3,000 adults, and you multiply that by $50 each. We looking at a good 150,000.
50. All right, so 150,000, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if every adult black person gave 50,000 or $50 this month, there'd be 150,000 in the kitty,
Man.
right? You want to start a school? You want to start a credit union?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if we commit to that for, what they say, for a cup of coffee, for one cup of coffee per month, for $5 a month, you could do this, right? So even if we said, hey, you give that five, because 5 times 12 is 60, do $5 a month, all 3,000 of us. That's 150,000 in a year, right? But you could do better than that because, you love your Starbucks, or you love your cigarettes, or you love your joint, or you love your drink, or you love, your Burger King, or whatever it is. And you say, we'll do 50. We'll do 50 a month. We could bring in 150,000 every single month, which would translate to 1.8 million in 1 year, just off of 3,000 bodies.
Man.
See, the
What
power's in
could
the
we
community.
what could we do in this community with that type of money? But see, the
Well,
thing is, brother, how do you get, and here's the thing, how do you get I'm gonna read that in 1 second, that's a long one. How do you get uh everybody's mind on that type of thinking? And that's the problem right there. That's the real problem. Because
no, that's the
everybody,
work.
we,
That's
we
the work
talked
we were
about this.
doing in the end of the year. We need a social contract. See, the thing
Yeah.
is we all say we need to work together and we need to do this and that, but we don't have a social contract on how we're going to work with each other, right? So we need to come together and have the voices be heard and then agree upon how we are going to govern amongst ourselves, right? How are we going to have conversation? How are we going to deal with conflict? How are we going to decide what we do with the first 150,000 that comes in? Or do we save it and we do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the consequence if you go against the group? See, all these things have to be talked about and agreed upon as a group. And once we do that, we could do it. And it's not a big mystery because every other culture does it. Folks come over here, they can't speak the language. They're in a foreign land and they come over and they stick together. Now, granted, they get government subsidies and help and everything else, but they come and they do it, right? And then you look up in 5 and 10 years, they're running circles around us and we're going into their businesses in our neighborhoods. Will you read Cynthia's?
So it said, I heard a pastor say, if I have children and take my children camping, fishing, or whatever, if there is some kids in the neighborhood or community that are fatherless, I'm gonna invite them to go fishing or camping or whatever with us. And she goes on to say, many, hold on. It says, because you took it down as I was reading it.
Well, because it cuts off. So you got to
Oh.
read it on the side. Can you still see it on the
It
side?
says, many of the black children are in single parent households. What a blessing it would be if every responsible parent, man or even woman, would take up with another person's child who is less fortunate. Now, in response to what Sister Cynthia wrote there, that is called it takes a village mindset. And which is something we didn't got away from, which used to be the way it was. Because growing up, my mom was like that. Like, she'd take us to the beach and look, everybody, all the kids in the neighborhood, she ain't have money to put us all on the bus, and she didn't have a car and she didn't have money to put us all on the bus, so we would walk downtown to the beach, you know what I'm saying, and have a day of it, have fun and a blast, and then we walk back home. And we used to do that all the time, different stuff like that, but that type of mindset is being lost, and this goes back to our very first podcast we did together, the individualistic mindset versus the community mindset. And it even goes into what we're talking about right now, as far as disaster preparation, is that it takes a community to survive. It takes a community to thrive. It takes a community for us to lift ourselves up out of the situation that we're in. Not no one person can do any of this alone. It takes a community, to do these things. I was talking about the college scholarship that we're going to do in September. We need the community to come through and put dollars into that scholarship, because it's going to happen every year. I don't care if it's only $100 we're able to give out, but every year we're going to give out this scholarship. If it ain't nothing but a book we buy, it's going to happen. But if the community comes and gets behind this and support it, then, what I'm saying, our children have at their disposal, what I'm saying, dollars, help them with the exorbitant, what I'm saying, cost of college. We all know that many people go to, and not just our children, because I think we're gonna open it up to all college. I gotta talk with my program director as far as the age limits, but we know that we talk about college being, what I'm saying, just another debt that people are collecting. You come out of college, in debt, and hardly find a job. So we need people to get behind this so we can help, put people through college, and
Well, let me jump in here, Rev, because I got
that,
because you straying from the topic.
I know. I'm sorry. But
All right,
I tell you, that's big on
I
my
got
heart, man. It's big.
I got a very hardcore viewpoint on thinking about this, Miss Cynthia, and I think the problem in the Black community is this. At this point now, over 70% of kids born are born into single parent households. That wasn't the case. Back in the 50s and the 60s, we were faced with harsher conditions, but the family unit was more intact. There was a study, and I will bring this study next Wednesday, that shows that Black men actually are more vested in their children than any other race of men. So I'll bring that study next week. But right now, right, we have assimilated so much into the dominant society and have taken on those traits through fourth wave feminism and all kinds of other things that have happened. We can discuss that later. The problem is this: we're not holding each other accountable. And so all we're doing is, as long as we treat the symptom and not the disease, we're not going to fix it. So, okay, the Black men can step up and take all the quote unquote bastard kids. And I'm saying that because I'm being harsh right now. I was giving up at when my mother was 16, but we can jump in and take them fishing, and we could do this and we can do that, and we could tax our resources to do that thing. And we never, ever hold the folks that are causing the actual issue accountable and start to reverse the catalyst for all this single parent households that are happening. That's what has to happen. See, we just keep addressing the symptom. You got to take the bullet out. You got to do the surgery. We can't just keep putting a tourniquet on there. That's the issue. And so there's no accountability. There's no shaming for it. We used to do that in the Black church, right? You just couldn't come in. Oh, Lord says, come as you are. You coming in on a Sunday, but you was just in the club till the club closed. When his last call, 1:15, you still hung over, but you in church looking like you dressed for the club. And it's all good.
Hold on right there. See, now with us having church on Saturdays now, you can,
Hold
come
on,
to
Rev,
church,
Rev, don't go there, Rev.
and go to church Saturday night and be fine.
No, because that's the problem, right? Because you're saying
I'm joking,
you can still go to the club. You see what I'm saying? No.
Oh yeah.
We gotta handle the root of the problem. So we gotta reestablish the family. They have been dividing us for decades. Oh, the nuclear family isn't a value. A two-person household, a two-parent household isn't a value. You could do it all by yourself. Be a strong Black woman. You don't need no man. The welfare, social services, you can't have the man in the house. Right? So all that is social engineering. And so then what does she say? Well, I can't have you come into the house because they're going to cut off the benefits. And you can't replace the benefits because they put you in jail over trumped up charges or whatever the case may be. They're not hiring you. There's a study that's out that says, hey, not only are they, they have studies where they throw away resumes and cover letters with black sounding names. They're not answering emails with black sounding names today. Yeah. That's a current study.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the case, I can't have you there even if I wanted you there because I'm reliant upon the state for my food, my shelter, my utilities, my medical, my car assistance, right? I need all those things, so I can't have you here, right? And so then what does he do? He's out there surviving. So he might have to slang. He's going to go and maybe join a gang because he has to feel like he belongs somewhere. He doesn't belong to the family. He got put out when he was a teenager. So he's just wandering out there in the wilderness alone. Right?
Can't argue with you there, brother. I cannot.
So we got to address the issue. Family unit, support. Why is it that a woman would give her womb before she would give her hand in marriage? Why is it that we would say, hey, you know what? No, I can't marry him. He can't, that can't be it. But you're going to open your legs and give him the most precious thing that you have, which is your womb. But he's not marriage material. But they tell you, oh, go ahead, do it. Be sexually free. And it's destroying communities, especially communities of color.
So, can I jump in?
Well, the chat. Why don't you read the chat and then respond there? Because they're firing off.
Oh yeah, I see it. We can judge it and leave it unaddressed and watch them run rogue later, which will be an issue in the community. Yeah. So you got a lot of kudos on what you were saying. I like I was saying, I have no argument with anything you said as far as the family structure going. Here's the thing. Bread and circuses always is the same thing. And people got to pull their heads out of the sand to be able to see this. But we're dealing with the same thing we've been dealing with, and we complained about it, and I'm finna touch on it. We complained about this, before when we woke up and started seeing like, oh, it's a cradle to the prison pipeline, this prison pipeline where they're just locking up all of our men to destroy the family unit, structure. They pulled all the men up out of the household. They began to change laws. So they're like, okay, if we let you out of the prison, now you can't go back home. They created all of these things to destroy the family, and we had a problem with it, right? But now, they done moved into phase 2 or 2.0 or whatever of the program. And now everybody's, hook, line, and sinker and like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. Like you was just talking about with our women taking this, taking this approach of this sexual freedom issue where it's like I can be just kind of free and do whatever I want with my body. Well, my Bible tells me that our body is the temple of the living God, and that we ought to be modest and protect our bodies and so forth, and all of this is not living in accordance to the way we we have traditionally done things within our community. Our women got bamboozled into this feminist fight, and most women nowadays that take this approach of being liberal with their bodies and being a so-called feminist, don't know the history of the feminist movement, what it really means, and what it's really all about. They just kind of have this idea of what I'm saying, being independent and free and not under what I'm saying, nobody control or whatever else. you
Rev, let
know
me push back on you, Rev. Let me push
hold on,
back
hold
on
on,
you.
hold on. Before you do, one of the things that I address with my congregation, the women in my congregation, is that whole notion of obedience, to the husband, right? They have, men like to, quote that particular part of the Bible. But when you go into context of it, it's a mutual thing. It's not about, just utter blind complete submission to the man. And a real man and a real husband is not going to use the Bible to oppress his wife. That is not exactly. Submission does go both ways, and that is biblically true. But a man is not going to use the word of God to oppress his wife and keep her in a state of despair because of his own desires. But go ahead, push back.
So, well, let's read Miss Cynthia's statement first. She said, underlying issues, many women who are promiscuous have low self-esteem and have low self-worth. Many have been molested, among other things. There is so many ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences that can cripple a person and sometimes for the rest of their lives. Adverse childhood experiences and historically, the infiltration of drugs and guns in the community did not help. And she also says submission goes both ways. Again, what I would say to this, to both of your statements there is I agree with what you're both are saying, but what I disagree with is the fact that the solution has to be first with the older folks, right? Because this is what I see, right? And I'm very critical of the black church, and how I speak about the black church, right? But right now, everything is acceptable, right? Just it's all good, and we're accepting of these things that are going on. But as women and men age, and we're seeing women that are in their 50s, there's a stat that shows 3 out of 4 women are on antipsychotic medication, right? Their mental health is not in a good place. Folks are cutting their medicine in half. They can't afford the housing. They are going to work until they die. There is no such thing as retirement for a lot of us, right? And so in their youth, what are they saying? Oh, you don't need no man. You need to be independent. You need to depend on yourself, right? Go on to school, get your degrees, do all that stuff. Delay having children, delay having a family. Choose the wrong man. You want Pookie and Ray Ray. You don't want the square who's going to work and going to school and could actually provide. It's going to be boring, but you want to go and live your best life or whatever, hot girl summer. You know what I'm saying? But if we don't address the elderly, and maybe we can't, but the teaching has to be taught down. And so as long as the elders are saying, yeah, that's okay, don't worry about it, baby, we understand, and this is what it is, they understand because now they're suffering in it. And they're not saying to them, don't do like I did. They're telling them, they're doubling down. They're telling them to become more independent, to get more education, to go more into debt on useless degrees. We know we need vocation.
Hold on. Let me jump in there real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to address Sister Cynthia. Listen, Brother Mawan, send her a link. Anybody gonna keep reading your long statements? Go ahead, jump on here and voice, what I'm saying, let your voice be heard, sister. You got some
She's
good
at
things to
work.
be said.
She's
Huh?
at work. She's at work.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll read your statement then.
but I
It
will give
says,
you one anytime.
it says, I know some Muslim brothers that are teaching young men how to fish, hunt, ride horses, construction work, etc. They are thinking long term and also creating an atmosphere that if or when the nation gets in trouble, they are in survival mode. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah, that's
Then she
facts.
also said, uh, Oh, she said, read what I said about the Muslim community. Yes, the churches should have been doing the same thing. Well, for many years, the church did more beating down than lifting up, which did more harm than good. Okay, so let me address what you were saying as far as the church and what Sister Cynthia is saying. Listen, I can't speak for nobody else. I can't speak for, none of the other churches or anything else, right? What I can tell you is that I have a different outlook, a world outlook. I think that's one of the reasons me and you kind of vibe the way that we do. I don't think traditionally. I'm thinking, what I'm saying, and doing things, what I'm saying, based on the world that we live in, and keeping that in context of what it is that God, what I'm saying, desires of us. No, I don't agree with, the loose living and, what I'm saying, all of that. I'm not gonna, ever, kind of sign off on it and say, oh, it's okay and so forth. No, I'm gonna tell you, listen, what I'm saying, that does not please God. What I will tell people is that I cannot change you. I'm not the one to change nobody. What I'm saying? Regardless of whether what you're doing is pleasing or not pleasing to God, I'm not the one that's able to change a person. And so with that being said, God does the changing. We plant, we water, but God gives the increase.
But we haven't
So
been doing that. And remember, this ain't about you
yeah.
and your church, Rev.
Oh
We're
yeah, I
talking
know, I
about
know.
we're talking about in general. You know what I'm saying? In general, the black church as a collective has done a disservice to their own congregation.
And I understand that you're talking in general, what I'm saying? And again, that's what I said. I can't, speak to that. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying
you
is,
can. Because you have a church
Let,
now, but you didn't have a church until 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like you grew up in other churches, so you've had to have seen this.
Let like you were saying about the medicine. Let me finish the thought, brother.
Get the cane. Go and get the cane.
Where is that cane? Where is it? All right. No. Okay. What I'm saying is I can't speak to, what I'm saying, and I understand it's general. I can't speak to what other churches are doing and whatever else, what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when I'm saying what I'm doing, is not what has typically been done. You know what I'm saying? And I am changing things and doing things in a different way. I am listening to the congregation and listening to people. I'm not so bullheaded where I feel like, what I'm saying, I'm a dictator and I'm sitting up on high above everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is for the people that are out there, what I'm saying, that are that have, that same type of mindset, that want to see something done different, want to see, what I'm saying, us address the issues that we have with our youth, because these are real issues. And again, as I said earlier, and it's not all of the youth, but it's a majority of them. It's 95% of them. You know what I'm saying? It's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? We have an issue with our youth that needs to be addressed, but it takes people and it takes resources, what I'm saying, to address these issues. So people that have like minds, what I'm saying, need to, gather together, what I'm saying, so we can do things
G2.
like, huh?
G2. You said gather together.
Amen. We need to gather together, what I'm saying, those that have like minds, so that we can begin to address these issues. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man on an island. You know what I'm saying? I'm up against, what I'm saying, some historical churches in this community that have been around for a long time, and people just have loyalty to those because that's where they grandparents went and their mothers went and their uncles go and so forth or whatever else. But you know what I'm saying, is it gonna be, what I'm saying, what's needed right now? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that, amen, sister Cynthia, that's true. We do need willing vessels that's willing to put in the work, to make these changes. One of the things, like, and this, I'm trying to get my youth program up off the ground so that we can start catching them young and start pouring into them young, and not just pouring into them on the spiritual level,
But
but
what are we pouring into them, Rev?
huh?
What are we pouring into them?
Well, the things that we're discussing, values, ethics, morals, principles, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, encouragement, self-worth, you know what I'm saying, self-esteem. It is a big thing nowadays to just tell a child, just how valuable they are. And just to tell them, like, look, you're a good person. To tell them that, look, you're capable of doing whatever it is you put your mind to. If all other things are possible, so is all the things that you dream and imagine. You know what I'm saying? These are things that our youth need to hear. They need to believe
Well,
that
that's
they are
great. But
capable of
but the
these
Black
things.
Church Collective would say to you, they've been doing that. That's what the Black
Well,
Church Collective would say they've been doing. You
have
can
they?
ask any church right now. They say they do that.
Okay.
But it
How?
ain't working
How?
because what they're teaching
How?
them isn't what they need, right? Because the viewpoint. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I'm not gonna say what church I heard this from, but I heard
Okay.
this weekend, and
Okay.
someone came in and spoke, and they were talking about how they give resources and they help out single mothers, right?
Yep. Yep.
And in that, one of the things that was said was like, look, we can help you with your rent. We can help you with this. We can help you with that. And it's one thing you can make a mistake the first time, and you're a single mother. You make the wrong choice, whatever, right? Historic aces. We could put all that. But when you make the second choice, right, that shouldn't be happening. And one of the advice is tell those young girls, don't let them boys, sweet talk you to open your legs. And it's like, see, that's the thing. You telling the girls that they have no agency, and it's the boys' problem. You see what I'm saying? So that's when an adult came and told the congregation. And so that's the thinking that the
Yep.
collective doesn't see, but they keep teaching that wrong way thought. And it's like, well, you don't have any agency. It's not your fault. It's post-traumatic slave syndrome. It's historical, this and that. We know all that. So if we know the game and we know they're cheating at the game, then
Yeah,
we
it
need to
takes
play the
two to
game a different
tangle.
way.
It takes two to tangle. It takes two to tangle. Listen, if if it's not consensual, then it's rape, and you need to pick up the phone, and report that. And I understand that's anyway. That could be a difficult thing in itself, but yeah, it takes two to tango, and that goes back to what we were just talking about. What I'm saying, with this loose society that we're living in, where what I'm saying, it's just like a free for all. And then you end up with the child, and now what I'm saying, we know that situation. Either the child is what I'm saying, harmed, and not necessarily physically, but harmed because they have a young parent, or the I mean, that is such a toxic situation. I think we need to get into
Still with me, man?
I'm just looking at Bailey and
All right. Well, remember you're on live, so when you stop
oh.
breathing, stop mid sentence and just go silent.
I'm sorry, it caught me off. It caught me
Hey,
off
Rev, you
guard.
good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I apologize. But listen, it takes two to tango. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna tell a mother that, hey, you got to close your legs, or what did you say? They said just close your legs.
So what they said was, okay, it's one thing you made a mistake, you made a bad decision the first time, but the second time that shouldn't be happening. Don't let them boys talk you into opening your legs. And so what I'm saying is that was an adult that's running
Yeah.
programming that is telling the girl, you don't have agency. It's the boy's issue that's coming after you as a predator. So don't fall for it.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And sometimes, no, that, and we know we live in this so-called what's it called, equality. All things equal nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do whatever a boy can do. So a lot of time it's the girls chasing just as much the girls chasing down the guy as the guy chasing down the girl. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Right,
a
Rev.
mutual
Follow
thing. It
follow
goes
what I'm
both
saying.
ways.
Follow the point that I'm making is this. You
Yeah.
tell a woman, if you're building self-esteem, then you let a person, a man or woman, you have agency. And
Yeah.
as
You
you
got
said
worth.
before, you
Yeah.
are precious and you need to value yourself, right?
That's
Not,
right.
well, you know what? That don't let that boy sweet talk your legs open like you don't have
No.
agency. That's what I'm saying is wrong with the
Yeah.
collective, because we keep saying these things, but it's not changing anything. We keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and we're just like, well, I don't understand why this is happening. Why we have almost 80% single motherhood, and then kids are out on the street in their 13s, 14s, and 15s, and then they just repeat the cycle. We can't break it,
Okay.
and
So
it's up to us.
one of the issues here, is that we're teaching, what I'm saying, equality in the streets, but we're not teaching equality in God. You know what I'm saying? So the same way we teach our boys, you know what I'm saying, and we teach, and hopefully we're teaching our girls too, that look, you're both precious in God's eyes. You know what I'm saying? And it's not okay for a boy to just run around, you know what I'm saying, and be willy nilly sowing his oats wherever. Just as well as it's not okay for a female to, run around and be willy nilly and, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever they do with guys. You know what I'm saying? That's not right. But you got to teach them both equally, you know what I'm saying, their value and their worth, you know what I'm saying, in self, and say that you're worth more than that. Your value, you know what I'm saying, who you are as a person, you know what I'm saying, has value. And what you're doing is you're devaluing, you know what I'm saying, not just your body, but yourself. You know what I'm saying, who you are as a person. You're you know what I'm saying, you just kind of not I don't know how to say that quite well just yet. I got to put some thought into it. But, we have to teach them the value, you know what I'm saying, their minds and their bodies, you know what I'm saying, completely, value themselves as a whole person, you know what I'm saying, and not separate the two and think that, one is more valuable than the other or one is less valuable than the other. We
And
have to
Rev,
teach our
that's
kids
all
how to
good.
have
That Rev, that's great. But the problem lies in the parents, not in the kids. These are kids. They're innocent, right? They're expecting us to teach them in the way of which they should go, whether it's
yeah,
the parents or whether it's the community that's around them, right? But what do? Right? We're damaged because we're adults with aces. So now we got to buy the kids Jordans. Now we got to buy the kids PS5s. Now we got to buy the kids this, right? And so their value system is all centered around all the wrong things, right? So they don't value a Bailey. They don't value a Cynthia. They don't value a you. They value someone dribbling a basketball or someone, you know what I'm saying? They're valuing all the wrong things and then reinforce it by buying them $200 pairs of shoes, right? By buying them a video game, by steering them away from books, by steering them away from vocation, by steering them away from experiences, right? So we're teaching them exactly the opposite of what we want for their outcomes. And then when they hit teenage years and then they're not doing what they're doing, then we reject them and we get rid of them, right?
yeah,
Almost,
yeah.
almost. And when I say almost, it's like what, 70% of black boys in the fourth grade are not reading at reading level, right? Fourth grade.
So okay, so here's my question,
Hold
and
on,
this
that's a
is
parent. That's a parent issue, not a kid issue,
hold on, and
right?
that's my question right there. This is a genuine question, because I'm at a loss for this answer. How do we make the parents and and or the child put a value in a Cynthia or a Bailey or yourself or myself, in what it is, our ethics and morals and so forth. How do we change that value system?
So I'll tell you a story, and I'm not going to tell you that I have all the answers. I just definitely see things a lot differently than a lot of other folks. This year, I participated in, Deborah's 14th annual Christmas giveaway, right? And toys for Tykes through Hops and Drops, giving out bicycles to kids. And my board, we discussed giving out gifts to folks. My issue was this. Ultimately, we made the decision not to, and I was, pretty influential in having a conversation with the board. But if it's going to change, if we continue to put the value in that, and we can say, you know what, our kids, I hear you, Rev. Our kids need to have Christmas, right? They should have toys and they should have this and their kids and they should have it. But then we complain about the commercialization of Christmas, not even Christ and Christmas, just the commercialization of Christmas, right? We complain about that, just separating it out, right? So if we're doing that, I love you, Mama. Yes, ma'am. I will eat all of that. So we're doing this, and we're saying this is what we value, right? This is what you're going to value. This is what you need. The year that we were so poor that my dad could only get us, we got to pick out the box of cereal that we wanted. And I picked out Trix. And to this day, I won't eat Trix. And he would say things like, Jesus is the reason for the season. And he would like to have something for us to open up. But typically what we got were things that we needed: underwear, socks, a sweater, things that were usable, right? It wasn't about, a bunch of toys and everything else. And so what he was doing was building that perspective in. Hey, you know what? One is Jesus's holidays. I mean, we're talking about Reverend Cameron here. But two, he didn't want us to be, having that mindset of material. And so he built that into us. And so I had this issue where we're supporting Deborah's Christmas giveaway. We're supporting Hops and Drops, and we're giving toys. And it's like, man, am I part of the problem and not part of the solution? And so that's why we didn't give away any gifts. But I do recognize that kids should have something to open, and this is the culture that we're in and this and that. But we have to move away from it, right? We have to find a way to show kids love. But is that the best way to show kids love? And how do we teach against that? Kwanzaa might be one of those ways, right? Where we're teaching love and teaching all the other principles of Kwanzaa. So that may be one answer to that question. But we've got to change how we act. And that's why I say it's on the parents. So then when the kids turn out the way they do, and we're like, I don't know how the hell that happened. It's like, because you did it. We did it. And and a lot of times we don't know we're doing it. And that's why we have to have these conversations and say, you know what? We are harming our children. And it seems like we're doing the best for them. But a lot of times we're parenting through guilt. We didn't have these things when we grew up. We didn't want our kids not to have these things. We went through hard times. We experienced food insecurity or homelessness or whatever the case may be. And so now we want to do better as parents, and we try to do it through gifts, right? And we give and we give. You want that PlayStation? You want that video game? You want those shoes? You want this? You want that? Okay, here. We're going to give it to you. Makes me feel good. Makes you feel good. But it's damaging the child, right? They don't know the value of a dollar saving. They value the wrong things. It's up to us. That's why I want to do the award event this year and celebrate 100 men in this community that are unsung heroes, not your usual suspects, right? That are doing work in this community, and elevate that, prioritize that, right? And there was a women's event last year. That's why I say I want to focus on men. But if we don't do it, and we don't say that's what we value, if we're in the car and we're bumping the latest rap album or this and that, and it's talking about the WAP or this or whatever, then what are you telling them? Are you going to curse and tell them not to curse? So I believe we have to work on the parents, and that means the grandparents and the great grandparents changing themselves.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
My dad says there's worse hotels than mine, but for me and mine, this is how we live in this house. So the older people in the church, I believe, need to learn these lessons and then teach it down. But it's a multi-pronged attack. We got to hit every generation simultaneously, but a lot of focus has to go on the elderly. I don't mean elderly like 70 or 80, but the
I know what you're
50s,
saying.
the leadership, the folks that have the voice in these organizations.
You know what? I'm gonna, start calling you my Aaron, because you can articulate the thoughts that I can't get my words around. But I totally agree with you, 100%, 100%. And Sister Cynthia saying the same thing, which is so true. We're creating generational issues. You and which you gave me a great idea just now as you were speaking. New Horizon, I'm declaring this right now. New Horizon is going to give away gifts for Christmas of 2022, and what those are going to be is Bibles. I'm giving out Bibles for Christmas. I'm letting the kids know right now that's what you're getting from New Horizon. So if you forget in 12 months, good, it'll be a surprise.
We got a lot of work to do to make them see that as a treat. So we'll work on that.
Hey, you know what? And you can ask anybody, they'll tell you this. That has been, like my thing since day one, is giving people Bibles. I believe that is the most precious treasure there is the word of God. And so that, I guess you could call it a ministry. Like whenever people would come to the church, we get new members and stuff. I didn't gave out so many Bibles. It is ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous.
But here's the thing. That's what's powerful. That's what I'm saying, right? Is you are showing what to value, right? And so by doing that, you're saying, this is what I value. This is what's important. And if we are all doing that, then that is going to change, right? And then we show them how to actually read and interpret the Bible. I think will be helpful too, because
yeah.
But that's how that happens. And so while I laughed and I said, okay, well, you got a couple months to have them see the value. That was the whole reason for my soliloquy, right? We have to change how we view and value things, so they in turn grow up and value those things, right? Because there are kids that grow up in the church and following the footsteps of the deacon or the reverend or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
deaconess. But that's on us.
Ushers.
Well, and now, I mean, my church was one of the early ones that had female reverends. So, reverend is either way. So to be clear on that, don't get it twisted, folks.
Oh yeah,
no matter which way. But this is one of the reasons why I appreciate you, Rev. Is you're willing to have a conversation with someone of the world and figure out how to collaborate and try to answer the hard questions. You're willing to hear the hard things, the critique of the church, right? And then try to find solutions toward it. And we have to identify. And I don't think we've really took a hard look and have been accountable and said, you know what? I grew up and I did the same thing. I was guilty. I wanted my kids to have the things I didn't have. Right? Or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And I've got kids that are, 28 and 10. So they're pretty far apart. So it's like I got two generations of kids. But so I can do things differently than I did when I was a 19-year-old father, right? As a 40-something-year-old father. So my actions and my behaviors and my value set is different, right? I run a nonprofit. I live a life of service. So Layla gets to see that. Nikoya didn't get to see that. She got to see narcissism and selfishness and harm and hurt and all those other things. So I can do better because I know better. But more of us have to do that. And I believe that, when you say these people need to materialize, Cynthia said earlier, we need willing vessels. I think the willing vessels are here, right? And we've been here. Cynthia, Bailey, yourself, myself, and other people in the community just saying, you know what, we're going to be intentional on coming together and actually make a difference in the community. Shout out to you, Alyssa. You know what I'm saying? That we have to do different and we're going to be different. So power is taken, it's not given. We are not powerless. We are not a powerless people. We're tremendously powerful.
Oh, I know I'm not powerless. I got the Holy Spirit within me, so I am full of power. So hey, yeah, man, don't mess around this way, bro.
Well, Pastor, I
I'm
know it's past your
connected to the big boss with the hot sauce.
Pastor, I know it's past your bedtime. I'm so glad your
Yes.
mama's in town. Since what did she say that she made me? Red beans
She
and
made
rice or whatever?
fried chicken, red beans, and rice with cornbread and some sweet potatoes. Man,
Are you dropping that over? Are you
woo!
dropping that off tomorrow, or do I need to send one of my drivers over there?
What's some? Yeah, you gonna have to send a driver because I got a busy schedule tomorrow. It's crazy. You
All
think
right,
I've
I'll
been
say.
busy? I was telling you earlier how busy I was. Like, yeah, tomorrow's. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I tell mom to put you a plate up. Well, she
All
probably
right.
still watching. I don't know.
Oh no, she
I've
just
been
put that in
sending
the
out.
chat like 10 minutes ago.
Huh?
I said she just put that in the chat 10 minutes ago. So I definitely need to go to the store and buy a pot roast so she can make that for me. How long is she gonna be in town for?
You know she will. You
Well,
know she
I mean, my
will.
birthday's coming up, so I need to give
When's
her
your
a pouty
birthday?
lip on the 24th.
Ah, okay, brother. You just missed that Capricorn ride, though,
Oh
man.
no, I'm an Aquarius. I'm the Alpha.
Cap, brother, we bring the year in and we take the year out.
The first lady
Capricorns,
says
100.
she is still watching.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Rob says, what? This happens when I'm out of town. Enjoy your food. Hey man, you in Texas eating a real Longhorn steak
Yes,
and
yes.
Whataburger. We don't want to hear
Man, look. I was so trying to find that gift card.
it.
Jan
I appreciate you.
24.
I miss you being on the podcast, Cynthia. I have to do some more in the evening time.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good podcast. Brother Mawan, excellent. Yeah,
I,
we are we have symbiont thoughts, and so I appreciate you much, brother. And we're gonna definitely collaborate on some things as far as what we are discussing, because yeah, we got to reach the older generation. We got to use to reach the younger generation as well. Just simply because we not everybody gonna jump on board, and some ignorant folk out there, man, you better bring a Whataburger home or you're gonna be out of luck. But yeah, we got to reach our kids. We got to reach their parents, their aunts, their uncles, their grandmas. We got to bring community back together and make community again for us. I know that's the big catchphrase now, for the community, but our community is fractured right now, and it's not whole, and it's not healthy, spiritually, emotionally, or physically. So we got to get our community right, and that charity starts at home right here in Kitsap. So let's get it done, folk. We can do it. All
For
right, that's my
sure.
last word.
Well, let me let everyone know. We Rob says he'll see what he can do. He ain't bringing you no burger. G2,
Hey,
we need
hold on.
help.
Hey, I got a flyer I want to share real quick too.
All right, go ahead and share while you're doing that. We need
Hold on.
help. We need more drivers. We are creating more relationships in the county. So we have a few county contracts this year and several grants. So if you would like to give back and come and drive, give us a call, 360-373-3000. Now, if you want to use your own vehicle, because that's more convenient for you, maybe you're a little bit far out from our local area, our insurance extends to your vehicle while you are operating for the purpose of G2 business. We are feeding more and more people this year in 2022. So if you want to help out there, we could definitely use your help, as we are preparing meals for the homeless encampments. We're also still delivering our food throughout the county on Thursdays. and we also provide food to the Q&I shelters, which right now I believe has 30 people who have COVID, who have no place to isolate. So we provide meals every single day. But yeah, we need you. You know, we're growing quite quickly. We turned 4 years old in February, so it's been a blessing, you know, for sure. We've got our two grants, right? So we got 135,000 from Commerce and 225,000 from Group Health. So we're excited about that, and so we will continue to do the work, live what we're talking, and try to make a difference in the ways that we can. Cynthia says it's sad when coming together for funerals is the norm instead of community supports and awareness. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Miss Cynthia. We've been fighting the fight for 3 years. You know, now they see us. You know, the bank and Cameron can take a break a little bit. So when you start an organization out of your own pocket, it costs a lot. So I got more than 100 grand in trying to get this thing off the road. But it is a living embodiment that only works because of the people that make it go. So definitely want to say I appreciate everyone who supports G2, whether through calling and having people use our resources, and that's even the community service hours that we provide for people that have them to do. So we create a space for folks to do that also. And then all the people that volunteer and work for G2, and all of you, of course. So thank you all. But please give us a call. If you have a driver's license, please do. Also, some of our folks have went on to pilot the Kitsap Transit vehicles and have gone on to apply to be a bus driver for Kitsap Transit through driving for us. So a lot of open avenues. So reach out. For sure. But yes, we definitely need you. We never stopped during the snow. We were making sure that people got to their appointments, and we transported, I think, over 30 people back and forth to work to KMH during the snowstorm, because that was critical. And with no accidents, right? No accidents. So all the accidents that happened, during our snowstorm, our drivers we're very blessed as we were doing the work. So what's your flyer there that you got to share?
So this right here, is it up?
I can't pull mine. I just got to pull mine down.
Okay. So this right here, let me see if I can enlarge it. So, well, all right. So this right here is a COVID-19 vaccination and booster clinic that's being hosted by the Kitsap Sickle Cell Task Force. I am a sickle cell warrior myself, and I connected with this task force during the Juneteenth event that they had at Evergreen, and I met the founder here, Carol Wickelson, and so she's a member of New Fellowship Church, and so on the 29th, they're going to do a COVID-19 vaccination and a booster clinic, and that's going to be at New Fellowship Church, located at 10239 Old Frontier Road Northwest in Silverdale, 983 from 12 to 3. They'll be giving vaccines and boosters for adults and children 5 and up. They're asking people to wear a mask, be prepared to keep safe, and to keep a safe distance from others, and take note and obey any signs and designated markers. And if you got more questions, you can call Sister Carol Wilkerson at the number listed here, 360-551-7583. So come out and support, get your vaccination, get your booster. Listen, this plague is nothing to play with. It's very serious. It's deadly. People are dying every day, and the life that you save by getting a vaccination or getting your booster may very well be your own. So please, please, please get vaccinated. Take the time to go and get your booster, go and get your vaccination, and keep yourself safe so that the community's hurting. Brother Mawan, you showed the stats earlier, on the health district website. And so they're not the ones administering the vaccine. The Kitsap Public Health District could be administering the vaccines, but the numbers are staggering. We're spiking. We're dealing with Omicron, we're dealing with Delta, Alpha, all of them, all at the same time. And you know, as we talked about disaster preparedness, this is a part of preparing. This is a disaster we're in right now. This plague that we're dealing with is a disaster, and so you know, do the right thing. Go get vaccinated. Go get your boosters. Listen, if you got the Johnson & Johnson vaccination, you can go and get your booster 2 months later. If you've received the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, you can get your booster 5 months after your last shot. So, if you're in those time frames, if you're in those windows, go and get vaccinated. God gives us common sense, and common sense says, listen, I don't want COVID because, it hurts, people that don't die, they're walking away with lifelong ailments, as a result of catching the COVID. So please be safe, keep wearing your mask. If you can afford to do so, get you one of those KVN95 deals, the super mask they call them.
Rev, Rev,
Huh?
you were going
What?
off, man.
Oh, hey, this is serious, man. This is serious, bro.
I
I'm
got you.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Rev,
gonna let it
Rev,
go.
like, man, it's
It
past my
is past
bedtime.
my
He's talking for
bedtime.
10 minutes on getting the vaccine. Like, man, this is serious. He don't know what kind of mask to get.
Hey, hey,
Oh, man,
man.
you crack me up,
Look,
Rev.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Rev's like, this is serious, man. Y'all need to know. For sure, for sure.
Listen, yeah.
Send me that flyer, and I will definitely push that out with each show.
Okay.
Tomorrow night at 7 p.m., the Governor's Art and Heritage Award. So Governor Inslee will be giving out awards. Our own Okuye Karen Vargas is receiving an award. So I will be live streaming that tomorrow. And then Bainbridge Island will be having their Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, which will be this Sunday at 12 p.m. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Rob.
Hey, don't bail out the Rev. Don't encourage him. You don't need that. You don't need that.
Yeah, you do.
But stay tuned for that. We'll be back on tomorrow at 7, and then Sunday. I may have I have a lot of things to talk about. But right now, my my partners are out of town, so I can't do too much when we're shorthanded right now. So you got any final short words, Rev?
Hey, come out and gather with us, this Saturday right here at 4040 Wheaton Way, Suite 203, New Horizon Ministries. We've switched our service days to Saturdays. It makes for a beautiful weekend. Come get in and out within an hour and a half. And so we hope to see you in the place. We're doing no, I don't do short. I don't do short.
He went off, First Lady.
Listen, we're having services on Saturdays. We're mixing things up. It makes for a beautiful weekend, and you get to sleep in on Sunday, and then you all refresh for Monday. All right. God bless you guys.
All right. Well, that's it. You heard it from the Rev. We appreciate you for joining us tonight every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Parley with the Pastor. I am Marwan Cameron. for Pastor Michael Ellington, and we will see you next time.
Yes, yes.
And you know, I don't have my music, so I got to run with my Be Right Back music for the outro. You know, this doesn't feel
What you
right
do?
not
You
to
break
have
the
some kind of
machine,
music.
man. What's going